Hi guys, how you doing? So we are going to be using what we did last week, which was the story of Macbeth. You've written your own version of the story. And then we're going to turn it back into a Playscript. Now, a few things to remember. Please don't panic, don't worry if you don't use Shakespearean language. You don't have to at all. So we're going to look at our story from last week and we're going to use the dialogue to turn it back into a play. So I had some of my dialogue. The second witch stroked the tuft of silvery hair that sprouted from her chin and grinned, showing her gums. I hear the sound of hooves, sister, she said. So, how do I do that, I hear you ask? Well, I'm glad you did, because here we go. We are going to be showing you how exactly to do that. So, we are going to start here, and we are going to start with Act 1, Scene 1. A classroom full of noisy children throwing paper around. So this is what a Playscript should look like. Enter the teacher, Mr. Chown. Dean shouting, Mr. Chown, how can I write a Playscript all by myself? Mr. Chown, it's simple really, Dean. I'll take you through it step by step, and I'm sure you'll understand. So far, we can see some of our features. We've got the name of the person. We've got our colon. We've got our instructions to them. We've got our opening setting. And then we've got when somebody enters or leaves. But don't worry, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. There was a knock at the door. In walked little Dave. Dave, sorry I'm late, Mr. Chown. I was finishing off my story. That's okay, Dave. Maybe we could use it to write a Playscript. May I share it with the class? Dave, smiling. Yes, of course. So, this is A Grave Situation by Dave, aged 9.5. And it says, Jenny fell to the floor with a bump. What on earth just happened, she mumbled as she struggled to her feet and brushed the earth off her jeans. Jenny, what are you doing down there? Called Dave. David, I don't know, she replied. I just sort of passed out, I suppose, and fell into this hole. You do realise it's a grave you've fallen into, don't you? Queried Dave. Screamed Jenny. Quick, David, get me out of here. So, step 1. You're going to go back to your story from last week, and just like this story, you are going to highlight the spoken parts. You're going to highlight any of the spoken word parts that you have. For example, what on earth just happened? Jenny, what are you doing down there? I don't know. I just sort of passed out, I suppose, and fell into the hole. You do realise it's a grave, and so on. Now, these are the bits you can use when you're doing your actual writing, because now you have your speech. You've highlighted your speech. You've got your speech. So you can then turn it into this. So we go back here. What on earth just happened? We can see is this bit here. What on earth just happened? And then you can see here, what on earth just happened? The next bit, Jenny, what are you doing down there? So now we've got a different person, David. And Jenny, what are you doing down there? So you can highlight all the speech from your last piece of work that you've done. And now we can turn it into a Playscript. So that's your first thing. Highlight your speech. Remember, you don't need speech marks. You just need the name of the person who is saying it, and then you need the colon. So that's the first part you can do. Highlight the speech, and then turn it into that bit there. The next bit you can do is identify the stage directions. So, what could the stage directions be here? Well, let's have a look. Mumbled, struggled to her feet and brushed the dirt off her jeans, called and screamed. So these are the bits we're going to add in. These are the bits you can add in. So if you've got said, mumbled, shouted, screamed, cackled, those are the bits you can add in. So let's have a look. How would we do that? So now we've got Jenny mumbling as she struggles to her feet, brushing the earth off her jeans. You can see now we've added it from what on earth just happened to this bit here. What on earth just happened? David shouting down the hole. We can see here. Jenny, what are you doing down there? Called David. Well, we've changed that to shouted. So shouting down the hole. I don't know. I just sort of passed out, I suppose. And then Jenny screams, quick, David, get me out of here. So these are now our stage directions as well. So we must make sure that we put them in brackets. So you can highlight, if you want, your speech with one colour, and then highlight your stage directions with the other colour. The last thing you want to do is set the scene. So in setting the scene, we need to figure out which bit does that. Jenny fell on the floor with a bump, and there's the word down there, grave. So with yours, it could be 3 witches standing on a heath as the fog swirls around them. They cackle to each other and begin to chant. And that could be your setting the scene. So here it's very simple. A girl has just fallen down an empty grave. Her friend is looking down. Then we have the person's name, the colon, Then we have the stage directions, mumbling as she struggles to her feet, brushing the earth off her jeans. And then we have what on earth just happened? Now shouting down the hole. And again, this is the next person. And again, we always do new speaker, new line like we normally do with speech. So that should help you out. So here we go. Coming back to here, we can see that. What I'm going to do is change mine, and I'm going to put it, I don't need to have old-fashioned Shakespearean language, but I'm going to set the scene as a short paragraph. Scene: heath in a storm, 2 soldiers stride wearily onto the stage. Then write the name of the characters down the left-hand side of the page with a colon. Macbeth. New speaker, new line, and include stage directions in brackets. Opening the door to let the king in. So, Macbeth gloomily, it's horrible weather, I'm soaked. Banquo nodding his head in agreement. Now I've put this before the colon because then you know that the actor has to do that before they start speaking. I'll be really glad to get home after the battle, pointing at 3 witches who seem to have appeared from nowhere. Hey, what ugly creatures. I wonder who they are. And now I'm going to have a bit of dramatic license here. Macbeth, oi, who are you? 3 witches greet Macbeth in turn. So I put that even before the speaking because those are my stage directions. First witch, crackly voice. How Macbeth, Lord of Glamis. Second witch, croaky voice. How Macbeth, Lord of Cawdor. So, give it a go. Use your narrative story. I can use a narrative story to write a play script. Please give that a go. Make sure you set the scene. Doesn't need to be big. And if you can't do the whole story, that's perfectly fine. Pick a section, pick a part that you really like. Could be the opening, could be the battle at the end, could be the middle part, could be the bit where Macbeth and Lady Macbeth did a murder, isn't it? So it's up to you, completely up to you. But have a look at the success criteria here. Use the story you've done before, and if you want to, go back, rewind the video, have a look again, and have a look at the PowerPoint here that we can do, that we've used here. So hopefully that gives you everything you need to write a wonderful play script, and I will give you something else a bit further on in the week if you get this finished. I hope you guys are holding up well, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.